Andy? Good to see you. So there's a mic there, so space pass between you all.
Do we need to be in the same particular?
Yeah.
Billy. So first of all, you enjoyed the day?
Sorry.
Yeah, we enjoyed the day so far?
Yes, I've enjoyed it. Yes, we're lovely to see you all.
Yeah.
We can only hear you, Tom.
Yeah, good. I've only just got here. Good to see you, Tom. Good to see you. So we're going to go straight into the nitty-gritty for Tomb Raider 3. So I'm going to just ask each of you this to start off with. So first off, how did each of you come to work at Core Design to start with? We'll start with you, Andy.
So I was working at Bullfrog, Magic Carpet and theme park. I decided that they weren't appreciating my talent enough at age 25 or something. So at that age, you know, you can be a bit silly sometimes. So I felt they weren't appreciating my talent, so I went to Core Design and worked on the masterpiece Land Machine Head. I couldn't actually.
As well.
Yeah, worked. I was looking at. Gibbins most responsibility.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find the building. But eventually, I saw some people with really strange haircuts going into a building on Ashbourne Road, and that was Bob. And found out that I was Core Design, so went in and interviewed with Jade, and that was the beginning of. You've got a microphone.
I know.
Well done.
So how about you, Rick?
Same story. I mean, no, completely different. Yeah, I was working at a company called High Tech in Sheffield, and we were doing a lot of like Looney Tunes and Hanna-Barbera games, budget games, and then the company went into a bit of difficulties. Jeremy Smith at Core had a round of golf with our boss at High Tech, and he said, you know, if you've got any guys that need jobs, send them down. So we went down and we got jobs at Core. So
What year?
I think it was 92.
92.
Yeah, 92.
92.
It's way too long.
Were you in the, so there was two buildings, there was a big one on Ashbourne Road, but you started in a little tiny one next to it?
Yeah, I was in that, the original rat's maze of a building, yeah. But yeah, good times.
All right. How about you and Tom? You may well pass it over, Rick.
There you go.
I was lecturing at Nottingham University in the psychology and computer science department, teaching AI, and I basically had a friend of a friend that worked for Gremlin, and I talked to him a bit. I put in an application to Core, I think in mid-97, didn't get any response at all. Emailed a few times. Finally, Tomb Raider 2 came out, and I sent quite a rude email, which sort of said, having just played Tomb Raider 2, I'm quite surprised you don't feel in need of an AI programmer, which was a bit...
Jeremy put that on his wall in his office.
Did he really?
Yeah, he used to throw doors in. Yeah.
We used to put all the really nasty letters, we used to put them on the wall in the kitchen.
But, and I mean, the thing is, as soon as I got there, I felt really guilty about it, because actually Gavin did an amazing job with when I realised just how, you know, difficult it was to do anything on the PlayStation 1, I did feel guilty about it. But I mean, the thing is it took a notice of me, and I got an interview the next day after the RC email, so it just shows that sometimes it's worth
Did
doing.
you send the postcard?
I did not send the postcard.
Famous postcard, yeah.
Interesting. We'll get back to that. You want to pass the mic over to, if that works?
Turn it on.
I don't think that's... I did turn it on.
Just share one mic.
Programmer.
I wasn't working, I was unemployed, but I was writing a game on the Atari ST back in 1993, and Nathan and three of his cronies came round to my flat that I was sharing with my mate, because his girlfriend at the time knew somebody who knew somebody that my mate knew that might be able to get some stuff for them. So we went and got the stuff for them, and then while that was happening downstairs, getting some paint. They came and had a look at what game I was writing. I thought, oh, that's really good.
Was it
As they
Asteroids?
didn't swear like that. They just said, "Yeah, that's really good." And then I rang up Jeremy every other day for 2 weeks, and eventually relented and said, "Oh, just come in and I'll speak to you," and then gave me a job.
There we go then. So there we
In
are.
the rags.
Yeah. So there we go. So now that we're all the core design, it's a lovely time, from what I've been told anyway, with Tomb Raider 3. So when I was speaking to Gavin for the book, he remembers being told that Tomb Raider 3 was originally going to be on the PlayStation 2, and there were plans for it to be like a few year like development, not just like the 1 year cycle that we had in the end. But apparently, I think Martin, you're kind of the first point of call for this one to start with. Something happened, didn't it? Like, was it during around middle of '97 that you were kind of like given the project to do Tomb Raider 3 for the PS1?
Not straight away. was
Not
it?
straight. No, we would. While they were doing Tomb Raider 2, we were given the engine that they'd written, or the game that they'd written, Tomb Raider 2, Tomb Raider 1. So we were tasked to make another game, a sci-fi game, wasn't it? Copying, I think we called it. Or sci-fi
I look
game.
like Blade Runner sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we had a multicoloured cube spinning around as our main character for about 6 months until they said, "Oh, can you do Tomb Raider 3 because they're not."
Tomb Raider 2 and a
2.1. So
Yeah,
that's why
yeah, yeah.
my hard drive was my working directory was 2.21.
Because I mean, the rumours at the time, I remember in Against Master Magazine, there were rumours about Tomb Raider 2.5.
That was
So
it.
was that was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was what it was supposed to be. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But they didn't want that because they couldn't have Tomb Raider 3. So we did Tomb Raider 3 instead, which is basically what Tomb Raider 2.5 would have been, I'd guess.
Yeah.
Just more,
So
half more.
You were working on I remember working on a kind of cop game thing.
Yeah, it was
About-
the sci-fi
But
side.
was that wasn't Tomb Raider 2.5, was it?
It
Yes.
was
No,
the precursor, yeah.
it was the precursor. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay, because yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So when was it that it changed from 2.1 to Tomb Raider 3 project? When did that change? Do you remember that?
In October, November,
Ish. Yeah.
97.
It was basically when...
Before my first son was born. That was November 97.
Okay.
In fact, I went to. I'm stealing the mic. I went to the Nintendo Developers Conference in 1997 because we were doing Tomb Raider 2 on the N64.
Yeah.
Right.
But it never happened because it wasn't good enough to make the game.
Okay. So once the project turned into Tomb Raider 3, so what were like the aims for Tomb Raider 3 like to start with? Like once it was confirmed you were going to be creating it, and I think I'd maybe like just start with for Rick to start with.
I don't know, it's like we developed all these like ideas and new bits of technology for Tomb Raider 2.5, and we realised that we'd actually got like a full game's worth of extra stuff. So like new weapons, new vehicles, a better game engine, even though, Gibby had many sleepless nights over the triangulation.
Yeah.
So we...
Triangles and triangles.
Yeah. Yeah, still have nightmares now. So basically we were just trying to find new ways of building things that didn't look like blocks with textures on them, even though they kind of did anyway. Different puzzles, different traps, and like enemies that could do more things. So, I think we were toying around with jumping enemies at TR3, weren't we? But we couldn't get it working well enough. So in time, we saved it to TR4, didn't we? So yeah, the original aims were just to make it bigger and better. Because what else could we do? And it weren't until after we'd been developing it for a few months that we introduced like the level select screen after you finish the first set of levels, which was quite different for Tomb Raider, and not many games had done it at that point either. So yeah.
Yeah, because it really kind of like changed it, didn't it? Like how you played, like the set of levels in Tomb Raider. Because it wasn't just a set.
Yeah.
Yeah, order anymore. It was even Nevada. It could be South Pacific.
Yeah.
And it just kind of went from there. So I think that was like another factor, wasn't it? Just to kind of make it different from the previous two as well in that form too.
That's it. I think it was something we might have been planning on doing for the sci-fi game, but I can't fully remember that one.
We didn't get very far with that.
Yeah, it was just
All we were asked to do.
concepts really, weren't it? A couple of environments, but
Was Tomb 3 where we had an opportunity to go to Jeremy, our boss, mentioned that we could go to Egypt. Was that Tomb 3? And then
I think that was Tomb
was it
4.
Tomb 4?
Yeah,
Okay,
they did
because
the big launch for-
and we couldn't go because the jabs took too long to. It took like 3 weeks for the jabs to take effect, so we didn't have 3 weeks in the schedule to go to wait for the jabs to take effect. But I think it's just Tomb 3. We were just jamming it. It's got everything but the kitchen sink in it, really.
yeah.
Yeah. Did you arrive? Were you on the start of Tomb 3, Tom?
Nearly.
Nearly, but not. No, I spent when I first got to chorus, did a bit on Ninja,
Oh, yeah.
whatever it was called, and hurdy gurdy and stuff. And I know, right? And yeah, I think I was starting to get involved with it early on though, because I was just talking to. I was talking to Heather when she was still on it actually, so it must have been quite early because I was trying to. I don't think she knew what I was going on about because I was going on about I want to get animals to behave like animals, not just something you just shoot. And you know, what about if we made the monkeys that you didn't have to shoot them,
Yeah.
like every other thing in the game. So
They were
I think,
awesome.
and everyone shot them.
Yeah.
So
But if you didn't shoot,
if you didn't shoot, I know.
little secrets.
The wonders of the world.
It's great.
Got a good story about that.
Do you want to tell the story?
No, it's Tom's story about the.
I don't know. Have I got a good story about that? Or
Is,
just
is,
about
it not is it the monkeys going and collecting all the ammo and bringing it back to Lara? What was the?
Yeah, well, it's just that the monkeys do to just help you,
Yeah.
and I don't think anyone. I mean, no one discovered it for years because everyone just instinctively shot everything in Tomb Raider because that's what you did in Tomb Raider. So, I mean, if you just left them alone, they would show you where there were secrets and medipacks and stuff like that. But
Yeah, the safe crystals.
I know,
everything,
but
isn't it?
no one discovered it. I think even now, I looked at the Wikipedia page the other day and it just said, oh, the monkeys, one of them shows you a save crystal, but just shoot the rest or something. I was just like,
I just shot them.
yeah. So,
No, it's interesting. I mean, I think like another part of this as well is like Vicki Arnold, for instance. I mean, massive part, you know, in the beginning of Tomb Raider. You know, first film writer, Susan Hamilton helped shape a big part of Lara Croft. I mean, what do each of you like remember like working like with Vicki as well? And alongside that, I mean, did the story come first? The location was decided after, or was it like the other way around?
Well, so I mean, with Vicki, I can remember Vicki on Tomb Raider 1, and so basically because Vicki was kind of a female in the game industry at a time when it was quite a strange male-focused industry, Vicki was given her own room, which is a good idea at that particular stage. So she, you know, Vicki was writing in a small room, so we usually pop in and see Vicki if we wanted to have a chat with her about any changes to the script or ideas. But I mean, yeah, Vicki was quite, from my perspective, you know, and I was close to Toby, but I didn't really see Vicki. She wasn't a social person, but she's not, you know, she was a writer who did a great job. But I think she kept herself a bit away from what was obviously quite a laddish sort of culture, you know, at the time.
Yeah.
So we didn't. I don't think you've gone. Richard.
I had a bit of like interaction because I had an office next door to hers. So when she was doing the script for Tomb Raider 1, we were, you know, she'd come in and she'd say, I've not really done much for games before. So what would I do with this scene? How would I handle that? And, you know, like, what do I name this? You know, like all that sort of, just like firing questions at me, and I'd be, you know, just trying to answer them as best as I could. But yeah, I mean, she was talented at what she did. I think she was kind of thrown in the deep end a little bit back then. But yeah, I think she did a pretty decent job.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How about yourself, Tom, Martin? Do you remember working with Vicki or speaking to her?
I mean, I do remember working with Vicki, and she's just, I mean, really nice to work with, but there was definitely a feeling that she sort of like was slightly remote from the rest of the team, I think. Right. I mean, I think she felt like that was the way she, you know, liked it, and I think you're right in that she wasn't necessarily that heavily into games, so I was kind of writing for the writing's sake, rather than you know, the game itself in a way. Which, but I mean, it worked. I mean, I think it worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
No, fair enough. So, developing with the limitations of the PS1. So, you know, it's end of 97, beginning of 98. I mean, arguably, we're entering like halfway through its lifespan of the console, the PlayStation 1. So, question again, like for each of you, what challenges do each of you remember when it came to new features into Raider 3 to, you know, make it within the capabilities of the 5-year-old system, arguably?
Yeah.
I broke everything.
Yes, Bruce broke everything, yes, indeed. Well, the artist wanted the moon on a stick, basically. So,
Well, we did, yeah.
yeah, he wanted everything. Well, basically, we had a 2,000 polygon limit that before we ran out of memory, and if you try and draw any more than that, it was going to stop anyway. And we wanted to make it look better, so it had to go into high res, well, higher res, 512 wide instead of 38 and something wide, which took up more VRAM, so there was less space for textures. And it was just trying to cram as much as we possibly could, as a sort of to stick it to the Tomb 2 team, basically. It's like, this is what you could have done in Tomb 2. I mean, Tomb 2 was amazing. Tomb 1's even more amazing, really. So we were on the back foot to start with, you know, with how do we basically make something so, well, at the time, almost perfect, better. You know, or we could, what the artists, the level designers could make the game basically. All the programmers could do was, well, apart from Tom, he had to make the AI better, but all we could do was basically make it visually better. That was our task, and I think we did a pretty good job with it.
I think that's a big thing of Tomb Raider 3 because you got like the splash effects, you got the better lighting as well.
Splash effect, yeah.
So you did that, yeah.
Simon Pegg did that.
You did the Ghost as well in the British Museum, Gibby, if I remember.
I did the what?
The Ghost in the British Museum. But I asked Gibby to do a kind of there's this supernatural element in the British Museum where I wanted him to make a ghost coming out of a coffin, and you said, "Oh,
did I?"
He said, "Andy, come over and have a look at this. Just check this out." And there was like a sort of two little dots, which were the eyes. And there's another dot for the nose, and you put a load of dots in for a smiley mouth, and you go, "Look, it's like a ghost." I'm going, "Oh, Gibby, it's not really like a ghost, is it? It's like a smiling face."
Yeah, well, I don't remember.
So
that
don't,
at all.
if the programmer art,
Up,
don't ask programmers to create art because.
All I was going to say is, I mean, it is ridiculous just give you talking about. So basically, PlayStation 1 had 2 meg of memory, 1 meg of VRAM. So it's like, you know, less than a single photo on your phone for everything. And I mean, most of that, I think about a third of that memory is taken up with Lara's animations, took up most of the memory, didn't they? They had more than anything else. And so every time, so things like, I mean, just things that in game development nowadays you would never have to worry about, like, if there was a level where Lara couldn't do monkey swings, then we would unload the animation memory unload the animations for that move to free up more memory to do other things with. So basically, even code, even like a 20k code file to do a particular thing, if Lara wasn't doing that in that level, we wouldn't load that 20k of code. So I mean, that's one when Richard was saying about doing jumping for Tomb Raider 4. You know, that was because I found one bit. Not a byte, 1 bit in the data structure for the searching, for AI searching, so we could actually do jumping. So I mean, it's crazy nowadays to think just how restrictive it was on PlayStation 1.
Can I just finish?
Yeah.
Victoria, go on.
No.
I was just going to say that one of the amazing things that we always forget about is the technical, the editor, which was given to us by Gavin. I mean, you know, that was kind of way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Actually having something you could create a 3D game, it's a 3D game engine, it's like, you know, Unity or Unreal now. You know, and so we were handed that, really, which, I mean, that was some pretty heavy, I mean, because you know that I'm a programmer, Gibby, as well. That was some pretty heavy duty, some heavy lifting that Gavin had done there, I think, yeah.
It was amazing. It was an amazing piece of engineering. It was, as much as I hate to say it.
It really was.
Really, really good.
And the animation editor was equally as cool as well, written by Gary
That crashed a
Ancliffe.
lot more than the Dream editor.
It did, but it was awesome.
It was amazing.
Still.
I mean, But also, just I mean, again, putting it against game development nowadays, you're talking about making a AAA title with effectively 12 people in less than a year, which is just crazy now when you compare it to nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the editor and how good it was in the first 2 games, and then we went in, added triangulation, added I think the room system was a lot more robust on how it sort of culled stuff you couldn't see. I think that's how we sort of clawed. Geeky technical.
We had roomlets, didn't we?
But I think, yes, we did. So we could basically cull a lot more stuff that you couldn't actually see in the camera, which allowed us to draw a lot more polys for stuff that you could see.
Yeah.
And then we added coloured lights as well. That was Tomb Raider 3.
And there were proper coloured lights as well.
They were?
The lights because they added lights for Tomb 2, didn't they?
Yeah.
But they were exponential.
And they were all
what
monochrome.
we added, and we added proper lights.
We did.
They were coloured and they grew in a quarter of a metre at a time.
Who's geeky now? Who's geeky now?
It was almost like a competition to try and
Better the previous two.
because we were struggling to do anything that wasn't graphical, basically. Well, the programmers were. So it was just like, what can we do? Coloured lights. Okay, all right, do it.
I think it's a big thing of Tomb Raider 3. I mean, it's bigger, it's so much more technically advanced as well. I mean, you just start Thames Wharf and you feel like you can just run across the city of London, in that space.
I tried to do that recently, Daryl, and I built Thames Wharf, and I couldn't do it. It was too hard.
You couldn't do it.
Yeah, I just kept falling off. I kept trying to make jumps, and I couldn't do the jumps. And I thought I might have made this a little bit too hard. So,
Is that in real life or in the game?
well, yeah, it might have been a dream.
No worries. And so another big part of Tomb Raider 3 is obviously the save system as well. Now, previous games, first game, there's a save crystal, lovely purple. Second one, you could save anywhere, in both the PC and PlayStation version. But Tomb Raider 3 did it a little bit different. So in the PlayStation, you've got these save crystals you can collect and then save anywhere, as long as you've got the save crystals in your inventory. But also the PC version does it different, where you can save anywhere, but the save crystals are there as a health pickup, essentially. So 2 parts to this question. What caused the change for Tomb Raider 3 compared to 2? Was it a design decision? Do you think players had it too easy before, that they could save anywhere? And also, why the difference between the PC and the PlayStation version?
Yeah, I think we just wanted to sort of not give the player the ability to save anywhere and just keep, walk 10 paces, save, walk 10 paces, save, do a jump, save. It just seemed a little bit too easy, and I know a lot of games do that, especially on PC. But we just wanted to reintroduce the crystals in a way that just allowed people to keep the saving, but just be a bit wary of spending a crystal to save. And Tomb Raider 1, personally I thought the crystals were good, but they did get a bit sparse, and sometimes you'd sort of save where you weren't meant to save because you'd sort of backtrack through the level later on, and suddenly you needed that save, and then you'd die, and then you had to do a load of the game again, which is not something I promote or enjoy in games. My wife will contest to that. I hate backtracking in any game.
Do you not play Dark Souls, Rich?
No.
No? So, jeopardy's a big thing nowadays, isn't it? With regards to, you building up the jeopardy between save points, but you've got to balance it right, otherwise, it's really irritating. So.
That's it. It's like Jedi Survivor. I'm playing that, and that's like, it's so annoying.
It is.
Really good, though. But
I thought that some part of it was because of Sony TRCs, because wasn't it that one of the TRCs was that you couldn't let the players save the game in a situation where they could die, they could not progress from. So in theory, if you did like a run and jump over a spiked pit and saved the game mid-jump, when you loaded the game, you would die no matter what you did, and I'm pretty sure that was.
Safe crystal. You could only use a safe crystal if you were stood on a ledge.
I think it might have been. I mean, it's possible that Tomb Raider 2 actually broke those. Maybe they weren't there then, the TRCs, but I think it might have been to do that as well.
Explain what TRCs are.
What's it? Technical requirement checklist? So I might have made that up. Something like that.
But basically, it's a
Sounds plausible.
If you're doing a game for Sony, there's a huge, massive pain in the arse, just a whole load of regulations you got to obey. And I'm pretty sure one of them was that you couldn't save the game in a position where you would instantly die if you reloaded it.
I think you're right.
For
I
good
think they
reasons.
did introduce it after TR2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it might have been because of that.
Right, okay. That's interesting. That's fine.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that I had save game stuff for it in 2-3. I just remember trying to do the save game stuff. That was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Saving all the trigger.
Was there one where there was a save game bug that only happened if you saved the game 257 times? I don't know. I might have made that up.
Was that Tomb Raider 3? Tomb Raider
I
3?
don't know. I think it was in one of the PlayStation TR Tomb Raiders. Yeah.
Okay.
There's definitely a bug in Tomb Raider 3 save game regarding the quad bike best lap times.
No, that was 4.
That was what?
That was 4, wasn't it? The quad bike?
No, the race was in 3 as well. Yeah.
That was 3. But I remember going, no, wait, it's like 7 o'clock in the morning on the last day, on November the 20th or something
I
stupid.
love it when we were arguing about this stuff, and everyone in the audience is going, "No, that was Tomb Raider 3."
I was talking about on 4, because when we do this again for 4, obviously we'll get Chris here. Chris, so I built in 4, I built a level where you drove a quad bike and you did a jump. Actually, it wasn't a quad bike, it was a motorbike, wasn't it? You jumped over a pit, and then it loaded a new level, and so, you know, that was all designed and in the bag, and then Chris said, basically, what the fuck are you doing? He says, there's no possible way I can get the position of your stupid bike and load the next level with that position. And I was like, right, so what do I do? He's like, well, you're going to have to change it. Anyway, came back the next morning, and Chris being Chris, he just fixed it when there you fucking go. I was like, okay, yeah. So,
They've been there all night fixing it.
yeah. So, hopefully you'll meet Chris.
Angry Chris. But it was good.
Yeah.
He was like Scotty out of Star Trek. He was going, can't be done, and then it'd do
He
it.
was a very clever bloke. He was, for what is a very clever bloke.
He is.
There we go. So I think a big part of Tomb Raider 3 as well that many remember, like myself included, is it's slightly harder than Tomb Raider 1 and Tomb Raider 2.
Slightly?
And there were like no pickups to show, so you'd pick up an item, it wouldn't show on the bottom right. I'm not sure whether that's a feature or a bug. I'm thinking whether it's a feature. But was this deliberate, this challenge, or was it a surprise to you when players would say it's a bit more challenging?
I think we ran out of polygons to display a 3D model in the bottom corner, or we didn't want to waste any.
Right.
And to display it as a 2D image, it would have wasted texture memory. I know that sounds like a really feeble excuse, but that's Gibby's fault. He told us we couldn't have them.
We fixed it on 4, didn't we?
We did.
And they didn't click through the rest of the world as well,
Oh, yeah.
because we were better.
Yeah, yeah.
We were better then. Till we made it better. Yeah. No, sorry, I didn't know that. It wasn't my decision, but I didn't take it out. It must have been one of these guys.
Chris.
Can everybody hear Gibby?
Oh, sorry, it wasn't. Is that on? That is on. It wasn't my decision to remove it. It was one of the artists said, "We don't."
Chris.
No, it was Chris. It was
Yeah,
Chris.
Chris.
He probably said, "We can't afford these."
We're not artists,
50
Gibby, we're
polygons.
level designers.
Sorry, level designers
And artists.
And artists. Yeah. We ran out of polygons. Basically, it's probably the right.
Right, polygons. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
But we managed to get them back.
You got it back in Tomb Raider 4.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, somehow.
No, nothing. So, one question for you, Tom. So this is about the AI bit of Tomb Raider 3. Yeah, you take Mike. There we go. Yes, take. So, Tomb Raider 3. So this was like kind of like before like Metal Gear Solid was released. It had been announced, and it had been showcased at a couple of E3s previously already. So, you know, stealth was going to make a big impact really on the PlayStation with this, but levels like Lud's Gate, Nevada Security Compound, there's a few stealth sections requiring you to stick around. I mean, what was it like working with this new aspect and designing it around a level around it as well? I mean, what was that like?
Well, I'd love to say I've never heard of Metal Gear Solid, and I did it all independently. But I think it was definitely an influence, so that was around at the time. The thing is, and I mean, again, moaned about this before. I mean, the trouble is, in some ways, Tomb Raider was a victim of its own success because it was like always this thing of basically we can't break the magic formula, we have to keep it the same, so we couldn't do anything radically different. So I really wanted to get rid of auto-aiming, or at least, just where the guns would flick, because there's no point having enemies stealth around if the instant they're on screen, Lara's guns point to them. Even if the player is not aware of an enemy, the guns will be pointing at the enemy, so it kind of broke stealth on the AI, on the, the enemy side. But we were just trying to get a system in, and it had to be something that we could get in fairly simply, that we could basically do some sort of stealth. But the game itself didn't lend itself that well to stealth. But the other thing was just trying to talk to the designers about how to use it, and I think that's one of the reasons I ended up being a designer. That even though I started off as a programmer, was kind of, I think, spent a lot of my time talking to the designers about how to use the AI. And some people were better at it than others. So some of the other level designers I won't mention, but basically I just plonk someone down in the middle of a level and expect them to do stealth something. You go, no, you clearly you can walk into the room and see them. So there's nothing, you basically the AI and the design have to go hand in hand for it to work.
Yeah.
But it was just basically, I think it was a new system added where you put an enemy down and you could put a command on it that would say whether it patrolled or if it was just waiting and stuff like that. And then a lot of experimentation, trying to find what arc of vision and what distance of vision and hearing actually, lend themselves to enjoyable gameplay. Because I mean, if you make, it's like anything in games, if you make it realistic, it's bullshit. I mean, it's, someone will hear you a mile off. I mean, that's not fun for stealth. So I mean, you have to make things work to actually make the game enjoyable.
What was the first AI level that you wasn't Sophia, was it? What was the first AI level that you built? As in, did you just build a test room? I can't remember. I was just asking.
I kind of remember now. I can't remember, but yeah.
I can't remember the stealth in Lodsgate. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember how late that went in. So it's possible that it did. It might have gone in quite late. So as usual with everything, we're probably just desperately trying to hack it together in the last couple of weeks or something.
I think one of the problems we had was building like believable looking obstacles for the character to crawl and hide behind as well, because we'd got like huge blocks and we could only raise them by so many clicks, and Lara in Tomb Raider 3 couldn't really get that low, could she? So it was a bit tricky. Like a table would be like up to Lara's shoulders just so she could crouch down behind it.
Or the kitchen sink.
Kitchen sink or the ovens. Really.
Yeah, some of the scaling was quite weird on those obstacles.
And we couldn't just build props and put them in and expect those to be stealthable, hide behind objects. So it was challenging, wasn't it, back then? Yeah.
So I imagine a big part of this as well was with Sophia Leigh as well, with the AI, and making sure that she would follow and hit you as well, like when needed. I mean, how much of a challenge was that to get working for that level?
Andy, over to you.
Hi. So let's talk about Sophia. So this is why me and Tom are quite close friends, because
this is where we bonded, didn't we? Yeah.
How many evenings was it? It's probably 2 weeks up till 3 in the morning.
It was literally every night till 2 or 3 in the morning.
They had like trains, planes and automobiles moments quite regularly. They had, like man hug moments where we'd come in the office and find them under a table, just cuddling each other.
Weeping. But I mean, the other classic one obviously is Tomb 4, which but at the start of Tomb 4, I think getting an AI mentor character to actually mimic the movements of Lara.
Let's leave Von Crew for another time.
But I mean, I still see that in games today. That the AI fails on games where you've got somebody mentoring, trying to copy your movements. So you did a sterling job. Although I used to have a massive head of hair before I met Tom.
But so Sophia, we just, the whole thing about having a boss fight where you were kind of running up 2 sides of a building seemed like a good idea at the time. And it's one of those things that like worked 90% of the time, but then people would break it, like they would purposely run down again, and that would break it, and we could break it in so many different ways.
And the best thing is that we did it again in Tomb Raider 4 with Moncroy and the guide in the caves.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Oh, yeah.
I like the guide in. I like the guide in the caves.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, fair enough. So another part of Tomb Raider 3, the vehicles as well. I mean, like in the previous game, you had the skidoo, you had the boat in Venice, and now in Tomb Raider 3, you've got the quad bike, you've got the mine cart. A lot of people remember the certain kayak as well and its unique controls. So, any fond memories in testing this out? And any...
Fond is not a word I
Okay.
would ever use for that particular level. I think that was the level that had the most bugs.
Yeah.
The one bug came through, it was Hayos, wasn't it? It said that if you do this and less than that, you end up in the land where no textures live. So it's just getting sucked under you get sucked under the floor and it's just black screen. And it's like, oh, God. No,
I think
that was an absolute nightmare.
Yep.
Was it you that coded the kayak, or was that Chris?
I think Chris did. Well, Chris definitely did the minecart.
Because Chris was like, Def Leppard hair before he started
He
working
was
on that
not.
level,
He
and
was
then he
always
was
a
like
skinhead.
as bald as me. Yeah, it was tricky.
I don't think I did any of the vehicles.
Yeah.
Chris, the quad bike was obviously already done. That was just the skidoo.
I just remember I remember building the level, knowing that we had to somehow make it work, where we had a vehicle that was in the water, then it wasn't in the water, but then we had to put currents on the stuff that wasn't in the water,
It was a nightmare.
and then we had to tweak the speed of the kayak and how fast it could rotate, and if we tweaked it by the wrong value, like Gibby said, it would either fall through the floor or it would shoot up into the stratosphere with Lara still clinging onto it. And we got it to a state where we thought it wasn't that rubbish, and then we just left it. We just ran away from it. We daren't touch it anymore.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
And
And
that was-
there's a lovely tranquil bit at the top with the deadly piranhas and the water, and then you go down into it, and then there's nightmare, absolute nightmare.
Well, there we are.
Zero fun memories of that particular.
I mean, it was nice to build, but it was hideous as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite impressive though that they managed to make it look like rapids. I mean that was
Yep.
that was actually quite good.
That's me.
So you, Rich?
It was me, yeah.
It was it. There you go.
The artists.
The
the artists.
designers.
Yeah.
So I think one last part of the levels of Tomb Raider 3. Now, I have to mention this now. Area 51. Now, that was a level, last part of Nevada, where there wasn't a boss stage, but there's more like an event. And you go into the UFO, and it suddenly becomes a TARDIS. From the outside, it looks so small. You go in, and it looks like something totally different. So, first of all, who was responsible for it, and how did that come to be? And yeah,
It wasn't me.
okay.
I think it was.
It was me.
It was. It was me, but it was born from like a 4 a.m. Crazy. How can we break the game engine thing?
TARDIS, wasn't it?
It was me and you just messing around with it, and then I just thought I'm going to make a UFO, and then I'm going to make it bigger on the inside because it was tiny on the. It was the same size on the inside, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I just thought, what if I just mess around with this inside bit, and then we got something working, and I remember showing it to like these guys the following morning, and Gibby just threw a wobble and said, "You can't do that."
I'm not sure I did. I think I probably said,
Yes, you
how
did.
the fuck did you do that? But the reason it worked was because Gavin in his fantastic engineering brain made it so that basically the whole world was all made up of rooms, and each room had a door, and each door made a clip window. So basically all Rich did was made a small door into a massive room. So it all of the polygons behind the door got clipped by the door clip frame.
Yeah.
Fucking genius, really. Brilliant.
I did
I
make
think it blew my mind. I think
It did us too.
I fell off the chair. Well, that's just abusing the system.
It was really badly, but I did make it into like a doorway rather than something in the ceiling of the UFO, but that really didn't work because enemies just threw a proper wobbler when they encountered that. They didn't know what to do at all, so we decided to make it something you climbed into.
Yeah, it was really good. That impressive.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I think one big part of this as well is, you don't really see that in like another level of Tomb Raider 3. You don't really see it in Tomb Raider 4. I mean, like, were you tempted to kind of bring that back in some way, or?
Yeah, but we didn't want to push our luck.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Sorry, Daryl. So was there a predator? I was saying this to Rich. We can't remember whether we put a predator skull into the inside of the UFO. So, anybody remember that? Or was that something that came out of the film Predator 2? Did we put a predator skull in? We did. We put it in and we removed it. Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. So we put
Yeah, I think we had to take it out because it was an actual predator skull. We would have been sued for that one.
Well, so the thing with the development of Tomb Raider 3, so it was about 15, 16 months, would you say? From the 2.1 project to...
Yeah, it must have been at least that. Because like I say, we were on it when Adam, my son, was born, and that was November, so... And that was the year before.
Yeah, we had a bit more time in that. We did, yeah.
We were charged with doing this other game using the same engine, so we were the only people that generally could come to and say, shit, we need to do Tomb Raider 3. Can you do it?
It's like we were working on a sci-fi game, and then the Tomb Raider 2 team, who were working on Tomb Raider 3, swapped with us, and they worked on a sci-fi game, and we worked on Tomb Raider.
Well, yeah.
It was a weird sort of way. Yeah.
I mean, I think the big thing here is, that time span seems like a miracle in today's games, from what you can play now. But do you each look back at that Manic time with good memories, playing that you kind of applying today in your jobs now, and was there kind of maybe challenging memories that maybe IDOS and Core demanded from yourselves and other people from the team?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we've all taken some of the lessons we learned, into our current jobs. But I think. So I basically teach game design via the fact that we were obviously all designing these games, but I don't think we were ever forced really to. We kind of forced ourselves to try and make the best game possible. We weren't really. To be honest with you, the management kind of ignored us to some degree and just let us get on with things, and we were always just trying to kind of create the best possible product. I mean, we competed with each other, really. That's the best kind of level of design, is when you're competing with other designers in the room. And I've never played the kayak, so you guys talking about the kayak, I'm thinking, oh right, the kayak, that sounds cool. I had my submersible to play with, so I was quite comfortable with the pain that caused. Yes, I mean, what was the question, Daryl? Sorry.
Any good memories?
Any good memories? Yeah, they were all good memories. It was a fantastic time. It was the best team I've kind of ever worked with. We can see that obviously we've inspired a lot of people, which is an amazing thing to be able to do. And I think we were all really inspired by the project, and we wanted to make something fantastic, which it's quite hard to find that in a job, So I still miss it. I enjoy my job, but I didn't have the same sense of coming to work. I wanted to get out of bed and come to work and start creating again, with the most of the team apart from Gibby. But it's just a joke. Okay.
He loves me, really.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of camaraderie, and we were all sort of pulling together, every member of the team. It was the late nights, early mornings, and 24-hour shifts, but we were sort of driven to, as Andy said, make the game as good as it could be. And
we weren't ordered to do it, were we? Yeah, Andy said we were doing it off our own backs because we wanted to get it out there, and we'd also bitten off more than we could chew.
I think the only time it got
levels.
Yeah, exactly. The only time it got tough was when our test department would test the game to death. And, you know, they came up with some really obscure bugs that none of us found. We were sort of playing it as well, but we were only playing our own levels. And then after we'd finished testing it and after we'd cleared all the bugs, it'd get sent to Japan and then they'd find another 10 million bugs. And then we had to fix all those as well. And that was usually...
Well, we had to fix all the A's.
Yeah, but that were usually within like 2 weeks.
Well, yeah. It wasn't. It was a nightmare turnaround, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, great. So, a few more questions and we'll wrap up, but there's a few things that was in some promotional images for Tomb Raider 3 during its development. Now, if I see Peru, knife, these are things that were in kind of like press shots or a certain video rig that, you know, you were featured in and she falls through the floor, you know, and
A little bit too enthusiastic
Indeed.
talking about a knife.
So I think one of the first questions really, to any of you really, like, so what was Peru? Was it a deleted level or was it something that maybe kind of was showcased at E3 and that was it? What was it?
We started it just as a little bit of a, I don't know, a technical test. We'd got like certain new things with the engine and we just wanted to build like a small area, send that out to E3, see how it got responded to, and you know, some of the feedback was good, but some were like, you know, we've seen that part of South America in previous games.
Yeah.
We still wanted to do like a tropical island type of, you know, game, temple filled, and then we started looking at things like Skull Island. And I know Phil wanted to like reintroduce like the dinosaurs in there, so we kind of replaced King Kong with the dinosaurs, and then we had the idea to build a big crashed, you know, aeroplane with a massive gun on it, and we were just, you know, just gunning for that.
Tom loved the crash site level. Lots of triangles that couldn't go on.
Right.
Yeah, so the knife, I mean, that test level kind of went away, but we used some of the graphics from it.
Yeah.
And the knife was going to be introduced more as like a puzzle item than just a weapon. So we were going to use it to like cut certain things down. We wanted to have like vines that were hanging up and you use the knife to cut them down and then you could swing on them. But we didn't end up putting that mechanic in Tomb Raider 3. And also have like things that she could prise from the wall using it. But it went away really early on that. And we added similar mechanics in later games, but yeah, we never reintroduced the knife.
Right, so Peru was essentially just a test level, like a showcase at E3 then, at 98. Showcasing the moves and everything there, the lighting and everything there.
Yeah.
And then some of those effects went into South Pacific, essentially.
Yeah, pretty
Right.
much.
No, I was saying to some of the fans today that so All Hallows, I was making basically made my first test level was All Hallows, and I remember testing that and kind of trying to sliding down, you know, the 45 degrees slides and backflipping. And I was just testing the moves, and that went in, even though it was effectively a test level. But again, I mean, tried to play that again recently, and it made my beard almost fall off. It was so terrifyingly difficult that So perhaps maybe don't put in some of your test levels. Maybe
I've got one last sort of, well, maybe not last anecdote about one of Andy's levels. It's the one with a motorbike with a big pit in it. And one of the Class A bugs you could get back from Sony was that if you ever get into a situation where you can't complete the level, then it's got to be fixed. And someone in America or Japan had basically gone and got the torch that you needed to complete a puzzle, taken it from the room that you need to use it in, and gone all the way through the map and thrown it into the pit. And they said, yeah, it's in there now, can't get it out. Can't complete it again. Oh, you've got to be, so we had to stop you from throwing the torch when you jumped. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of crap you have to deal with.
I mean, the thing is actually, Martin, there's something that you told me a couple months ago about the Medipacks as well, because in the earlier demos, the Medipacks are red, and then they changed to red. So red. What was that?
That was, I mean, it was literally, I think about 3 days before the game went gold, we got basically the equivalent of a cease and desist letter from the Red Cross Associate organisation, basically to say that the Red Cross on Medipacks was
effectively the Red Cross organisation's logo, and we couldn't use it. So we had to basically replace every red cross texture in the game with a green cross instead. Which is why if you look at early demos from Tomb Raider 3, they still have the red cross on. Yeah. But I seem to remember that was an absolute panic because it was so close to when the game was meant to be finished.
And the German version wasn't allowed to have red blood, so we had to make it purple.
Yeah.
Purple. Right.
But the blood in the water is red.
So I think a final point to this really is, now whether it's like Peru, knife, of course, things. Was there anything else that maybe each of you wanted to put into Tomb Raider 3, but either you ran out of time for, or it just didn't work out, it just had to be cut?
I think the main thing was the knife, but it got cut early on.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
And then there was quite a few things that we ended up putting in Tomb Raider 4 and 5 because we just didn't have time. I think some of the enemy stuff that you did where long enemies would sort of bend their torso and stuff like that wasn't Tomb Raider 3, was
I
it?
think that got into Tomb Raider 3.
Did it?
So it's kind of like basically... sorry,
I don't know if you basically crocodiles and things in Tomb Raider 2 were quite plank-like, so they would rotate like that, and the whole body would rotate. And so basically on the dinosaurs, on the velociraptors and the crocodiles, it was just like bending. So when they turned, they actually curved the monster. But I think that was in Tomb 3.
Sure.
No, I'm not sure.
I'm going to check it.
So I think maybe just to wrap this bit up, 25 years now since the game came out, and I think first of all, actually, when it got released, as Steve had said to Rihanna earlier, there was a press event at the museum. Did each of you attend that? And if you did, any thoughts?
Yeah, so that amused me somewhat because I designed the London labels and so I designed the British Museum. And so we found at some point that they got a massive press event at the Natural History Museum. And so I was kind of like, well, you were close, but you didn't quite get the right museum. But no, we didn't used to get invited. We weren't actually that irritated with the fact we didn't used to get invited to events. So there was a massive press event where they flew out all the press to Egypt at the start of 2004.
Jonathan Ross was that one, wasn't he?
Jonathan Ross was that one, yeah. But we had one of the, who was the Tomb Raider lady who we had came in when we were working at the end of one of the projects, and we had. That
was Jordan. I think that was.
No, it wasn't. No, it was a really famous one of the Tomb Raider models, and she came in. Nell McAndrew. So when Nell McAndrew came in, dressed up in the full Tomb Raider gear, she came around and she was like, hi everybody, you okay? And we were all like, and she was like, hi. And she I don't think one of us actually said hello to her. But just a quick note that Toby always used to say to me that is something that he'll take with him to his grave is when Jordan was the first Lara Croft model. And there's a photograph we've still got of them all standing together with Jeremy and Jordan and Toby. And Toby said during that photo shoot he leaned into Jordan and said, "I created you." And he said that's haunted him.
It'll haunt him even more now.
I think the thing was that, again, this is my memory. It might be wrong, but it was basically all of the fun press events for Tomb Raider were always in early November, basically when we were just finishing the game, and we were literally at our desks for sort of 16 hours a day. So we missed out on all of the fun stuff, whether it was the museum event or later on the previews for the film and stuff like that, because we were just basically chained to our desks doing stuff, which did make us slightly annoyed. I think that we missed out on all that.
Using matches to hold his eyeballs up.
Yeah, amazing. So that's the thing now, with 25 years of Tomb Raider 3, is it kind of just amazing to each of you that, here we are, all these years later, and it's still like a beloved game and a beloved series. It's still inspiring a lot of people today.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic, to be honest, how many people still love the original series and, gain inspiration from that. And we can only be like super proud and thankful to everybody really who still loves the original Tomb Raiders. Yeah.
I'll keep. Yeah, no, I was just today, it was just totally inspiring for people to, that I didn't expect so many people to still be enjoying the games, and some of the just little conversations we've had today with all of you, just that some of you, it's kind of changed your life in some small way, which is amazing for us. It's amazing that something that we did 25 years ago is still impacting people. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, as everyone said, yeah, thank you very much. I mean, it's just, I think we did pour our hearts and souls into it at the time, so it's really nice to see that it kind of resonated with people still all this time later on.
Yeah, what Tom said, basically.
Amazing.
Yes, I'm very proud of what we do.
That's fantastic. Now, this would have been the end point of this talk, but there's apparently some remasters got announced a month or so ago. So we can't really wrap up this talk without mentioning these remasters, which are releasing February 14th next year. Yeah. So first 3 games be remastered. So I think first of all, this is kind of like a first question to each. Has Aspire, the makers of this remaster, have they been in touch with any of you about anything regarding the remaster, any help or anything?
Yes, I mean, I've been working very closely with them over the last 6 months. No, I've had no information whatsoever.
No, they haven't contacted us, which it's fine. It would have been nice to have been involved in some way, but it's cool if they want to take their own path and do their own, remaster or whatever it's going to be. Then it's good. I'll be playing them.
Yeah, fantastic.
They did get in touch with me, managed to through the grapevine somehow, but I did manage to find my old hard drive with all of the Tomb Raider 3 code on it, but none of the actual level projects, which would have been awesome.
Did you get paid, Gibby?
No, I was about to, because he said, "Oh yeah, just send it all over, including all the code." I went, "Hold on a minute, nah." So
right.
No, I didn't give them anything. Well, I can only assume they had reverse engineered everything anyway, or already had the code.
I think Tom gave it him.
Yeah, Tom did. Yeah, I did.
I'm just really interested to see how it works out, because I think that if they remaster the graphics and they keep the old control system, I think modern gamers will not be able to handle the fact that you have to walk up to a ledge, hop back twice, run forwards, press the jump button, keep hold of the pull-up button. It just won't happen. And I mean, so it'd be. And what's really interesting to me is, do they keep that old control system? If they remaster the control system, is it still original Tomb Raider? Because it's going to feel like a very, very different game.
But you do wonder though whether they are going to go with the retro control system, because things like Bonfire Peaks have used the tank controls with the rotatable, and so you wonder whether that's the next step in retro, is not the graphics but the control system. So people, because it's a much more it's like a puzzle game. It is, Tomb Raider is like a puzzle game in 3D, where you're working out the metrics, whereas now I was playing Assassin's Creed Mirage last night. You just run up the side of a building like an idiot. Where you had to you basically you had to work out mathematically almost where you were going. I don't know, that's something.
No, I think it's really interesting, because I think that people will it's like, if you give them updated graphics, they're going to imagine that a control system is going to be like Assassin's Creed. So I think it's going to be odd if you have updated graphics and the old control system. Whatever,
Lara looks rounder, more human, isn't she? But I've seen the go from one graphic set to another. So well, he's just changed the textures. He just put some bigger, more detailed textures on it, and it's still a gigantic block, the height of Lara. The width of Lara, so I don't know. I don't see how that. I don't see how. I'm going to revert. What's the expression? Something judgment until
reserve.
Reserve. Thank you. I shall reserve judgment until I've seen it and played it.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
It will be very interesting. But if they have literally just plastered some new textures on it, then
what's the point?
10th anniversary, by the way, we didn't just do that.
We did not. Yeah, well, we did a fucking great job on that.
Yeah.
Bloody did.
Oh, well.
So I think a final question here for the remaster. Now, this is going to be a question for each of you. And this is going to just apply to the remaster of Tomb Raider 3 because it's Tomb Raider 3's anniversary. So, is there something you'd each like to see fixed, added, or even removed in the remaster of Tomb Raider 3? So we'll start with you, Andy.
Submersible.
Kayak.
No, I don't know. Auto aim. I don't know. I hate just being able to shoot everything all the time.
Just not saying, but we did fix that in 10th anniversary as well.
Yeah, I know.
We fixed it. We fixed it all.
Was it Tomb Raider 3 where that big spiky cylinder thing came and chopped you up into pieces? Yeah, I want to remove that part.
Hang on, can I?
That was rubbish.
Also, can I just say what? Please, Willard boss, I hated that thing so much. It's like, we'll get a boss and we'll put him on a platform that's exactly the same width as the boss, so he can't actually manoeuvre or do anything.
Yeah.
Did he kill you with one shot
He
as
killed
well?
you with one shot, yeah. And he had to do a 180 spin because he couldn't actually turn because the platform was too small. not that I'm bitter.
All right, so we got submersible, kayak. Willard will go for, Tom? With spiders? Yeah. Okay.
Well, Rich stole my kayak, so I'll go with that really terrible thing where I basically chopped Lara up into all of her individual bits and splattered loads of blood everywhere when that big spiky cylinder chopped her over.
Fantastic.
I think that was Tomb 3, wasn't it?
I think so.
Was that Tomb 3? That was 4, was it? Oh, man.
Wrong game.
Do you want to give it another go?
I don't know. I can't.
What about the torch at the bottom's pit?
Oh, that wasn't my fault.
The what?
Ah, it was, yeah. Yeah.
Digger. Oh, for
That was it. That's what you're talking about.
Is that what I'm on about? My memory is intact.
That was evil.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, and I think that's it. Well, so thank you so much for chatting to me. It's been really great. So, yeah, there we go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.